Hello, welcome everybody. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 biggest lies about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent. So that's what we're going to go over today. Thank you for joining me. For those of you that are catching this on replay, hit me up in the comments with hashtag replay. For those of you that are joining me live, hit me in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, maybe I'll try to give you some shout outs before we start the live. So the agenda today is going to be, we are going to do the live, right? I've got a lot of notes here. Matter of fact, if you stick around to the end, I'm actually going to give you my cheat sheet, which is basically a copy of all these notes that goes over exactly what I'm going to talk about today. So we'll do the training, and then we're going to jump into Q&A at the end, right? So hold your questions about this training or any other questions you have until the end, and I will try to address them in our live Q&A. So I'm excited that you guys are here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dennis Brown. Been an entrepreneur for, geez, man, what is it? Going on 30 years. Crazy to say, but going on 30 years. And I've been very, very blessed. Built 4 multi-million-dollar companies in 4 different industries. Started a freight brokerage back in 2003. Grew that to about $80 million a year in sales, and then sold that company to pursue some other ventures. But I'm also the owner of freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Started that online course in 2009, have trained over 10,000 students and freight brokers and freight agents through that program. And we do offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee if that's something that you're interested in, right? Maybe this is your first time in the feed. You haven't kind of seen the content, or you're trying to learn more about becoming a freight broker. We are by far the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training program available, right? We are rated #1 freight broker training program online. Okay, so you can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Today, the training, again, we're going to talk about the 5 biggest lies that they're telling you about becoming a freight broker, right? And these are lies I hear time and time and time again. Some of these lies go back decades, right? Decades I've heard these lies. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Thank you so much. Hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. Again, I'll try to give you a quick shout out, and then we'll go from there. Carl from Bethlehem, Georgia, welcome. Shaka from Hope Mills, North Carolina. Betty Jones from Raleigh. There you go. Who else we got? Cynthia Moore from Maryland, as usual. Welcome. Miso from Chicago, Illinois. Simon from Nashville, thank you for joining me. Now, listen, guys, some of you are on YouTube, some of you are on LinkedIn, some of you are on Facebook. Doesn't matter where you join me. I stream every Monday at noon. I do a live training like this. Now, these are free trainings, okay? Just notice how you weren't required to put a credit card in. You didn't have to put an email in. You didn't have to do any of that, right? So here's the price of admission for you to get into this training. All you have to do, no matter where you're at right now, hit the like button, okay? Click the like button right now. Go ahead, do it. Okay? And then share the stream, right? If you're on LinkedIn, repost it on LinkedIn. If you're on Facebook, repost it on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, copy the link and text it to 3 of your buddies or 3 of your friends, okay? Share the stream. That's the price of admission. Now, I know how many times the streams are liked and shared. And that, to be extremely honest with you, that's what keeps me doing these free live trainings every week. So if you want me to continue doing these free trainings, you need to hit the like button, share the stream. That's the price of admission, okay? Otherwise, I can put a credit card gate up there and make you pay for each one of these trainings, but I don't really want to do that, right? So hit the like button, share the stream, let other people know about it. Appreciate it. And who else we got here? We got Aloha Healer from Tulsa. Paul from Cortland, Ohio. Welcome, Paul. Jana from Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome. So we got people coming in from all over the place. We're going to take about 1 more minute, let people get live, and then we're going to jump right into live training. Again, here are the notes. I got a lot to go over, and I'm excited that you guys are here. It's a beautiful day here in Buffalo. So I am going to be heading down to my property this afternoon, doing a little bit of work. I have a hunting and recreational property about an hour south of me. So I'm going to be going down there this afternoon. At least that's the plans. Doing a little bit of work. in prep for this fall and this fall's hunting season. So what do we got? Oh, Ula Manzir from Minsk, Belarus, as usual. Welcome. Thank you for being here. All right. So what do we got here? Let me just review these really quick. All right. Okay. Quick drink. Let a few more people get live. And we will get the show on the road. Betty, in the spring I hunt turkeys, in the fall I hunt deer. Right? I'm a big bow hunter. So yeah, my whole life since I was teeny weeny, since I was a kid. So it's a passion I've had for a long, long time. But thank you for asking. Yes. All right. So let's jump into the training without further ado. And so here we are. Again, I'm going to talk about the 5 lies, the 5 biggest lies about becoming a freight broker or freight agent. And the fact is, they are lying to you. Yes, they're absolutely 100% lying to you. And I'm going to prove it in this training. Okay. So who's they? Who's lying to you? Well, it's the online media. They're lying to you because they're typically pretty misinformed. It's misinformed Reddit users, right? People that are on Reddit that are misinformed and have absolutely no clue or experience in the trucking, logistics, or freight industry. And then, believe it or not, the other big group that's lying to you and is perpetuating these lies is big brokers. Big brokers, other big brokers are lying to you. And here's the reason why, because they're trying to protect their own turf. They're trying to protect the golden goose. They don't want more competition. Okay? So that's who's perpetuating these lies. And again, I'm going to share with you 5 of the biggest lies that freight brokers about becoming a freight broker. Okay? There's 5 big lies that are out there that people have, some of them, these lies have been going around for decades. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. So I want you to lean in. But here's the good news. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you my cheat sheet, right? This is a cheat sheet where you can download all the details about this training. You don't have to write furiously and take notes. I'm going to share that with you with a link at the end where you can download that absolutely free. Okay, so let's dive into number 1. One of the biggest lies that have been perpetuated, particularly over the last 5 years, is freight brokers won't be around in 10 years. They won't exist. They're going to go extinct. All the freight brokers are going out of business. And that is a huge crock of what. It's BS. Okay? Yes, technology is enhancing what's going on for shippers, carriers, and brokers. Technology is just it's a force that changes every industry. But the fact of the matter is, it's not putting brokers out of business. It's actually enhancing the services and the offering and the profitability of brokers. Now, when I first started in freight brokerage back in 2003, technology was lousy. The TMSs were lousy. The internet wasn't even that great, to be extremely honest with you. So as time has evolved, and that's the reason why I built my own software back then. If I did it today, I wouldn't, because there's a lot of great software out there that's technologically enhanced, advanced. It has all these cool features, including AI and other features built into it to make your job as a freight broker or freight agent easier. But the fact of the matter is, if you put your head in the sand and you try to operate off antiquated technology or from an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, yeah, you're going to struggle. But there's tons of software, tons of TMS, tons of providers out there very cost effectively, where for 50 or $100 a month for these software, not thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, you can deploy cutting edge software that will make you competitive with almost any brokerage out there. So that whole freight brokers will be out of business in 10 years is a crock. All right. Digital freight brokers are nothing more than freight brokers that leverage and enhance good technology. And that's, the proliferation of technology has really made it easier for brokers to join and become successful in this business. Okay. So that's number one lie. Okay. Number two, you need $100,000 plus in cash in order to start a freight brokerage. Wrong. 100% wrong. I hear this all the time. Matter of fact, I heard this back in 2003 when I first started. And the fact of the matter is, you don't need a lot of cash to start and become a freight broker. Here, for example, I did a recent poll a few months ago, and I think we had about 273 different freight brokers, right? Freight broker startups and people that started a freight brokerage go through this poll. And the poll was estimating how much their startup cost was. And 66% of the people that took that poll started their freight brokerage for under $5,000 total. Okay. Under $5,000. They didn't have to put their house up. They didn't have to sell their favorite car. They didn't have to rent out their kid to the neighbor to work like a, indentured servant. They didn't have to do any of that. Okay. The fact is they did it for all under $5,000. Now you can spend more, but you don't need to spend more. All right. Again, getting your freight broker bond, applying for your freight broker license, setting up some basic load boards. I mean, the cost of freight brokerage is not that much. So especially when you compare it to a traditional business. Go try to start a pizza shop. Go try to start a franchise. Go try to start another business like a software business. You'll be investing tens, if not hundreds of thousands or more just to open the doors. Okay. So no, that is a complete and utter lie. You do not need $100,000 to start a freight brokerage. The other part of this is this, as far as cash flow, one of the greatest parts about becoming a freight broker startup is you can use factoring. Okay. Factoring is financing that allows you to pay the carriers before you get paid by your shippers. And I'm not going to go down into a deep rabbit hole, but the fact of the matter is, freight brokers, have access to capital, other people's money. It's called OPM, right? Other people's money. Yeah. And of course there's a cost to it, but the fact is it provides cash flow, and cash flow is like oxygen. And so that's what new freight brokers do in many cases if they don't have any sort of financial backing. And it's a very viable way to start your business. Okay. Number three, you need A++ credit in order to become a freight broker. Wrong. Totally wrong. Yes, of course, the better your credit is, the easier and cheaper it is to become a freight broker. And here's the main place that credit falls into in factor, okay, as a big factor, and that is getting your freight broker surety bond. Okay. Now, every licensed freight broker, now this doesn't count for freight agents, but every licensed freight broker is required to get a $75,000 freight broker bond. But don't let that scare you. Okay. It sounds very daunting. You don't have to put up $75,000. You don't have to have $75,000. It's a bond. It's kind of like an insurance policy where you pay an annual premium. Now, those premiums range from anywhere from maybe $1,000 a year up to $7,000 or $8,000 or even $10,000 a year if you have really bad credit. The better your credit is, the lower the cost is. That's basically the ratio. So if you have 700 credit or 800 credit, you're going to have a much lower bond cost than someone that has $500 credit. But the fact of the matter is, even if you have average or below average credit, you can still get a bond and get started. And then as your credit improves, your bond cost will go down. Okay. So that is number three. You do not need a credit. Number four, freight brokers don't hire inexperienced freight agents that don't have a book of business. This one drives me crazy. This one drives me absolutely crazy because if you want to be an agent, okay, a freight agent, the secret is, the fact is you will need to partner with a licensed freight broker. So you have two options. You can get your own freight broker authority and you can go out on your own, or you can take the least cost and the least complex way and start as a freight agent, and you'll be earning anywhere from between 50 and 70% of all the profits that you generate working under another freight broker. But a lot of people say, well, other freight brokers, they only hire if you have a book of business, if you have existing customers, if you've got a lot of experience, and that's totally not true. Here's where it is true. If you go to the top 10 or 20 freight brokers out there that have an agent program, my old company, LDI, Global Trans, a lot of the other big companies out there that have been doing agent business model for decades, right? Yes. Most of them are going to require you to have experience and a book of business. Okay. That's a fact. But the fact is, there are thousands of other small and medium-sized brokers out there that would absolutely die to have a straight commission salesperson, a straight commission freight agent that works independently from home and is only paid based upon what they perform. There are tons of companies out there that will hire new agents, right? Especially if you've went through some sort of training like Freight Broker Bootcamp or my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, right? If you have those types of credentials, it makes it that much easier. So, matter of fact, so much so that I put together a job board, right, for my students and for anybody in my community that wanted to hire freight agents. You could check that out. Again, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/jobs. That's the best place where you can check that out. But again, you do not have to have a book of business in order to become a freight agent, to start a freight agency. What you need is a little bit of training, a lot of desire, a good work ethic, and a partner that's a freight broker, whether they be small or large, to get started with. Okay. So hope that helps. All right. That's number 4. And number 5, drum roll, please. Listen, this is a big one. Okay. This is a big one. All right. So I really need you to lean in on this, right? And this one drives me crazy. You need sales experience in order to become a successful freight broker. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. As a matter of fact, I'm going to challenge that because I have had students come into my program who have had sales experience and they struggled more than people that were newer. Now, why would that be? Because they've developed a lot of bad habits over the years, and it's very hard to break them of those bad habits. Sometimes it's better to have a clean slate and learn everything from scratch, and and it just works better. I mean, that's just a reality. So I'm not saying that having experience is a negative, but sometimes people have developed a lot of bad habits. So I prefer students who don't have a lot of experience. Take my Freight Broker Bootcamp, take my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. So let me talk about that for 1 second. My Freight Broker Sales Accelerator is a 5-week coaching program where I take that piece of my brain and I transplant it into your head. Again, these are my favorite freight broker sales strategies, tactics, tools, my entire freight broker sales system, okay, that allowed me to do over $200 million as a freight broker. Now, it's sold out right now, you can't get enrolled, but I will be opening it in the near future. And if you want to get on the wait list, all you have to do is go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/wait list. It's free to get on the wait list. The program is not free. The program is not cheap. But the fact of the matter is you'll be notified when I launch this program. And if you're not on the list, you won't get notified. You won't have an opportunity to be on the program. Okay. So the bottom line is this: you do not have to have sales experience in order to become a freight broker or a freight agent. What you need is to invest in some sort of training or coaching that will teach you the fundamentals of how to do cold calling, how to do cold email, how to stand out from the crowd, how to do follow-up, how to overcome objections, right? How to retain customers, how to get referrals, all of the things that are involved with sales, plus the other 100+ things that you can do in order to get customers, to get shippers as a freight broker. Okay. So again, if you want to get on the wait list, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com/wait list. Okay. So those are my 5 biggest lies about becoming a freight broker. But what I want you to understand is don't believe the hype. The fact is, a lot of these lies are perpetuated by big brokers and other brokers in the industry because they're trying to protect the golden goose. There's a huge opportunity in the freight and logistics industry for those that want to grab a hold of it. If you're curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent and you're just looking to get started, maybe you've been on TikTok or YouTube or LinkedIn and you're seeing all these different content and you're looking for a roadmap, you're looking for a coach, you're looking for a blueprint, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, we've trained over 10,000 students. I've had that program for well over a decade. I've personally done over $200 million as a freight broker, and we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. So you have zero risk, okay? You can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Listen, appreciate you guys being here. Hit the like button. If this is something that you enjoyed, you'd like me to do more trainings in the future, make sure you hit the like button. Hit me up with any questions in the comments below, and share with your friends. Truly appreciate it. And we'll see you next week on the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. All right. So if you guys want to stick around for the Q&A, hold tight. Okay. Hold tight. Stick around for the Q&A. Welcome, Fred from Hampton, Virginia. Welcome, Eclectic Rose from Colorado. Thank you for joining me. Welcome, Dennis from Tampa. Betty loves deer stew. I love it. I love the fact that you love venison. All right. So listen, if you guys have, I'm not going to do a giveaway today. Let's just jump into live Q&A. As I told you before, I want to get down to my property. I know you guys have a whole bunch of things to do as well. I probably will not get to everybody's questions today, but the fact is I'll do as many as I can in the time allotted. So cool. All right. Love it. My emails put some fire in you. Good. All right. So anybody who has questions about about this training, any of the 5 points and the 5 lies that I talked about today, anybody has questions about freight broker startup or freight broker sales or becoming a freight agent or how to get shippers or anything specific, be specific with your questions, and I will do my absolute best to try to answer them for you. Hit me up in the comments and we'll get the ball rolling with the Q&A, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Simon, you have to send me a connection request on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request and I'll accept the connection request. Then I'll be able to get your message and then I'll send you off the t-shirt. Okay. No problem. If you won the Freightpreneur t-shirt, I'm happy to send it out to you. I just need to get your full name, address, your size, and then the fact that you won the Freightpreneur t-shirt, and then I'll happily send it out to you. But send me a connection request on LinkedIn. I'll accept it. Then you can message me. Okay. Adrian Turner asks, can one afford to do trucking with inflation? Adrian, I'm not sure. You got to be a little bit more specific. Number one, I don't teach the asset side of the business. So I don't teach how to start a trucking company or how to start a dispatch or how to buy trucks or how to get your carrier authority. I don't teach that at all. I teach brokerage, which is a very low cost, low barrier to entry in order to enter the trucking and logistics industry. So if you have a more specific question, I'd be happy to try to answer it. Okay. Question for Betty. Betty says, I've started calling shippers and sending them shipper contract. As of right now, I do not have a TMS. Well, if you need a TMS, here's what I'm going to recommend. You may not need one yet because you don't have any shippers, but when you do, as a matter of fact, you can sign up for a free trial right now of my favorite TMS. Just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS. That is Ascend TMS. Okay. If you go through this link, Tim Hyam, the CEO of Ascend, is going to know that you came from my community. And not only can you sign up with no credit card required, right? You get the free trial, no credit card required, but you will also get a list, I think, of over 20,000 shipper database that they've put together. Not me. You'll get that from them, a 20,000 list shipper database that you'll get from them. And you can sign up for absolutely free with no credit card. So if you're looking for a TMS, Betty, or anybody, just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/TMS. Okay. Okay, Carl says, because I've been a driver for 20 years, I've built strong relationships with carriers, one in which has a total of 500 plus trucks around the country. How can I leverage that for getting shippers? Okay, good question, Carl. Well, as a truck driver, you have a huge advantage over someone that doesn't have experience. And here's why. Number one, you understand the lingo. Number two, nobody understands better what it takes to pick up and deliver freight on time in good condition with no problems than a driver. Number three, you develop strong relationships with other carriers and with shippers because you're meeting people on the dock on a daily basis. Freight that you're picking up, freight that you're delivering. And so you have a huge advantage because you have that experience in that network. So I love the fact that you're considering becoming a freight broker. So how can you leverage those relationships? Well, knowing the rates and knowing the capacity of the carriers that are within the niche that you're going to pursue is a great way to get started. Because if you're, for example, in the flatbed industry, I'm just using an example, and you're out of Buffalo and you like your niche is going to be Buffalo outbound or Western New York outbound or New York outbound, and the carriers that are in and out of Buffalo with flatbeds, and their rates, and the lanes that they run very often, you can then reach out to shippers that are specific in that niche, maybe in the Buffalo area or doing inbound to Buffalo. And then you can leverage that knowledge to position yourself as an expert, position yourself who has value, position yourself with someone that can provide a valuable service to those shippers because of those relationships and knowledge that you have. I typically start with shippers and then I build my carrier base around them. I don't start the other way around, but you can easily leverage relationship that you have and then try to sell that capacity and that ability and those rates into a shipper niche as well. So I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, Miso says, could you give some niche examples apart from the obvious reefer, dry van, flatbed? All right, well, you can go by equipment, right? There's really 4 ways to develop a niche. You go by industry, which is kind of product driven, bottled beverages, produce, building supply, heavy equipment, paper, those sorts of things, the industries, right? So that's one way to do it. All right. The other way to do it is by equipment type, which you mentioned: van, reefer, flatbed, step deck, heavy haul equipment, all that sort of stuff, right? Overdimensional. The other way to do it is by geography. So for example, I just gave an example of Western New York or Buffalo outbound. When I first started, I did Northeast outbound van freight that was going west or south. So I had what's called a hybrid. That's the 4th way, where you're mixing multiple of those different things, maybe an industry, equipment, and some geography, at least 2 of those 3 things. So those are the 4 ways to develop a freight niche that I teach, beyond just obviously the van, reefer, flatbed. So again, I think maybe what you're looking for is maybe some industries that are specific to that. I think that I have, if you go to my blog, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, and then you search finding shippers, right? In my articles, I have an entire article about finding shippers, and I think it has like 10 different sources for finding shippers. That might be valuable to you. You might want to check that out. So you can go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog, search for find shippers. And I think there'll be an article there that will show you some of the industries, right? Some of the top industries, right? So I think that would be helpful to you. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. Okay. I would like to know how to break the ice and ask for referrals to my best client and not being or sounding rude or inappropriate. Especially my client is not one of those that talks too much. Okay, so if I'm understanding your question correctly, you have a client, you have a shipper that you work with, and you want to ask him or her for referrals, okay? So that you can then reach out to those companies and try to get additional business. Okay, so there's a couple ways you can do this. My favorite way to do this is to offer a paid referral program where you are paying a commission, an ongoing commission, for any referrals that somebody gives you that you then do business with down the road. It can be a percentage of profit. It can be a percentage of the gross, but it's ultimately a referral program. That's one of the best ways to do it, because if you want somebody to go out of their way to give you an introduction, give them some incentive, right? There's an old saying, show me the incentive and I'll show you the results, right? So if you give them some incentive, like a paid referral program, then it's easy to reach out to them and simply say, hey, listen, by the way, I don't know if you know or not, we just launched a paid referral program for anybody that would refer friends and colleagues in the industry that end up doing business with us. Again, it's something there. If you give us a quick introduction and then we start doing business with them, we'll send you checks every month based upon what happens, whatever the amount of freight that they move. That typically is going to get somebody's attention, right? Because it's a little different. Most people don't pay for referrals, especially in the trucking logistics industry. Now, you're not paying him for his freight. You're paying him for an introduction into another company. Okay, let me make that clear. You're not paying him for his freight. That's illegal. Matter of fact, depending upon how you're doing it, it can be construed as a felony. It's a crime, okay? Because it's basically like a bribe, right? So he would be referring you to other companies, okay? So that's one way to do it, is to have a referral program. The other way to do it is just softly introduce it. Whenever you find that they're very happy about your service, they've given you a compliment, maybe you've asked them for some feedback and they've said, hey, you're doing a great job. That's a great time for you to ask them for a referral. And it's really simple. You would simply just say, hey, Joe, I know we've been doing business for a while now, and I know you've been in the industry for X number of years. I was just curious, do you know anybody else who might be able to benefit from our services? And then you zip your lip and you listen. And he may ask you a question. Well, what do you mean? Well, do you know any other shippers, any other companies, any other people in the logistics industry, maybe that do what you do, that I might be able to reach out to and see if we could help them? I mean, that's a very simple way, right? There's no pain involved in that. You're not pushy. And again, if they push back and say, no, I don't do that, well, then it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. But you can use one or both of those strategies that I just shared with you, and I think it could be very effective. Hope that helps. Fred, I'm not sure. You said you've been viewing the YouTube videos. If you are a paid member of Freight Broker Bootcamp, all you got to do is log into the bootcamp, and then it's going to give you an intro, and it's going to tell you exactly where to go, exactly what you need to do in order to do the training, including, the fast track startup training video, including the other videos, as well as the articles, all the downloadable contracts. Everything is there. And if you have questions beyond that, you can just message us as a paid member at support@freightbrokerbootcamp.com, right? And we will direct you, we'll put you in the right direction or answer your question right there. So I hope that helps. Paul says, Dennis, I've been using Apollo and sending out emails to shippers. I have less than 1% rate of people opening the emails. Okay, so what's your question? I guess ultimately 1% of opening your emails is probably, if it's an open issue, it's either they're being filtered out by the company's technology, right? Because they have filters that will sometimes prevent inbound emails because they don't want malicious spam. So that's one of the possible causes. Another cause is the email addresses aren't any good, or they're bad email addresses. That's a possibility. And they're bouncing and people aren't getting them. And the third one is, and most likely, is your subject line. One of the biggest things when you're sending emails out to prospects that don't know you in particular is the subject line. So if you put some sort of real salesy, pitchy, or very long subject line, the likelihood of them opening those emails is not very high, okay? So what you want to do with a subject line is you want to evoke curiosity. You want to keep it very short. I think statistically speaking, 3 words or less is the best when it comes to subject lines. So again, if you're struggling with people to get them opening your emails, those are probably a few things you should consider or look at, okay? Because you're not having an issue. Your biggest issue isn't what they're saying when they read your email. Your biggest issue is just getting the email opened, right? So I've never used Apollo for sending emails. Apollo.io is great for getting leads. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to sign up for a free account with Apollo, cost you absolutely nothing. Here's where you go. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/free leads. You can sign up for an Apollo account. They have millions and millions of leads from different industries, whatever niche you're in, and you can access the company data, the contact data, a lot of that information is free. Of course, there's a paid upgrade version where you can do that, but it doesn't require you to sign up with a credit card, and you can get a lot of data absolutely free. Now, Paul's using a paid version, I have a feeling, but if you want to use the free version, you absolutely can in order to source leads, and you can get that at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/free leads. Okay. I set that up for you guys so that you could get easy access. Okay. And Paul, I hope that helps give you a little bit of feedback on the open rates. Adrian Turner, yes, I heard there's a site to pick up loads, but got to have good reputation when new to even get them. Adrian, here's a total misconception. This is another lie that people tell, and I should probably add this as number 6, and that is this: that as a freight broker, there are load boards out there where you can build your freight brokerage just by getting loads from a load board. And that is BS. There's never been one freight broker or freight agent in the time that I have been a broker, okay, which is over 20 years, and I've trained thousands and thousands of brokers and agents. There's never been one that's built a successful business by trying to do it through a load board where shippers might come and post their loads, okay? It will not work. It does not work. I promise you, I'm not misleading you. The way to get shippers is called sales. You have to develop skills. This is not a business where you're going to go online, go to some website, click on a button and make money. That's not what this is. This is not some get rich quick scheme. This is not some push button technology. Yes, there's some technology involved, but you will never, ever build a successful business by trying to go to a load board to try to, or some sort of bid board in order to try to secure shippers. The best way to do that is to learn and develop your sales skills. How do you do that? Right? There's tons of sales training out there. There's tons of information out there to teach you about sales. Hold on and let me pull up one of them right now that'll be helpful for you. And it is, here it is. Okay. If you want, now I have what's called my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program. That is a 5-week Freight Broker Sales coaching program where I teach my favorite freight broker sales strategies, tactics, tools, and my entire sales system. Okay. The #1 freight broker sales system that allowed me to do over $200 million of freight broker. Now, that is sold out right now. You can't enroll in that right now, but it will open in the near future. And if you want to get notified when it does open up, you got to get on the wait list. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. That'll put you on the wait list. And as soon as spots open up for enrollment, you'll get notified. Bing, bang, boom. You can enroll and go from there. Now, it's not a free program. The wait list is free, but the program is not free. You'll get all the details once we launch the program. The price varies. It depends upon the bonuses, depends upon the structure, depends upon where I am. The price is going to continue to go up over time. Again, we've had over 1,000 students go through that program. And currently, right now, we have a rating of 9.2 out of 10 from people that were polled that took an exit poll after completing that program. So I promise you, the best program I've ever put out. So I hope that helps. AK asks, can we move freight intra-Canada, or is it just us to Canada, just US to Canada, or Canada to US? Okay, well, if you have your US broker authority, okay, you can definitely move inter-Canada US loads in and out, okay? Intra-Canada, oh shit. Sorry guys, hold on. Sorry guys, hold on a minute. A little bit of a glitch there. All right, I'm back. Sorry. So you can move US to Canada, Canada to US. Can you move Canada to Canada loads? Yes, most of Canada does not require any sort of, Canada is different than the US. You don't have to have, there's no authority or license, okay, to move freight in Canada. So yeah, if you're a Canadian broker and you're looking to move freight in the US, then you need a US authority. But if you're a US broker that has their authority, you won't need it in Canada. Okay. So I hope that helps. What's your opinion on the agricultural markets such as hopper bottoms and dumps, hauling grain and other commodities? I think it's a great niche. There's a ton of ag that goes on. Now, when you have those niche types of equipment that you need, like hopper bottoms and dumps and those sorts of things, most of the freight that's posted on load, or most of the loads that are posted on load boards are van, reefer, flatbeds. Okay. So if you need specialized equipment like hopper bottoms, then you're probably going to have a harder time finding them on Truck Stop and DAT, right? There may be some specialized agricultural or equipment specific load boards out there, or you can just reach out and develop relationships with carriers that have that type of equipment. But yes, I think it's a great niche. I think it adds a level of complexity, which will keep away some of the competition. You'll have less brokers, less competition. But again, it'll be a little bit harder to source the equipment because, the density of equipment that's on load boards is going to be, van, reefer, flatbed. So I hope that helps. Aloha, is there any underserved industry that you're aware of? Yeah. Probably one of the most complex, challenging, and underserved industries when it comes to freight brokerage that I'm aware of, even trucking in general, is reefer LTL. Okay, so 1 pallet, 2 pallets, 3 pallets of refrigerated product. Okay. There's a lot of complexity that goes into that. There's not a lot of shippers and not a lot of brokers that service it because of that complexity, including the type of equipment that you need and cold storage and insurance requirements and claims associated with that type of freight. So there's a lot that goes into that. It is an underserved industry. There's probably others as well, but I think that's the one that sticks out in my head most of all. Congrats, William. Thank you for joining. Awesome. If you have questions, let me know. Fred, load board. Yeah, you can. I would say the two that I would highly recommend. Let me see. Yeah. So the two that I highly recommend, here's one right here. I'm going to put it in the thing right here. Okay. Is called the DAT. So you can go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/DAT. That's one of the most popular load boards out there. Okay. That's one of the first load boards I think it's the first load board I ever signed up for. It was either that or the other one, which is truckstop.com. Those are the two most popular. Those are the two that have, probably the best tools, the most amount of trucks available. They've got a lot of different other things, including rating tools, including compliance tools, including insurance tool, all kinds of stuff that you can use as a broker built into those load boards. So I would say, first, I would probably go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/DAT. Okay. They're a preferred vendor of Freight Broker Bootcamp and my Freight Broker Bootcamp community. And then the other one is truckstop.com. Okay. So those are probably the two that I would recommend the most. Okay. So Fred, you're the last question. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Truly appreciate it. Listen, if you guys, I forgot to give you the link to download the freaking cheat sheet. Damn, I forgot to do that. Hold on. Let me get that to you now. Hold on. The cheat sheet. Hold on. Dang. Here it is right here. Okay, so this is for the cheat sheet that I went over today. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/lies. If you want to download this cheat sheet, that's where you'll download it. Again, it's free. Okay. And then you'll be able to summarize and have all this information. Plus, it will have links to additional resources that will expand upon the topics that I talked about, even beyond the things that I was able to talk about here in this short format. Okay. So if you guys want access to the cheat sheet, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/lies. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/lies. You'll be able to get instant access to I forgot to put that in the beginning of the video. and you'll be able to get instant access to this. It'll be sent to you immediately in your email. You'll be able to download it, print it, do whatever you want. Again, those are the 5 biggest lies about becoming a freight broker or freight agent. You can check that out and download it, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/lies. Let's see. William, one more question. William says, thank you. I think I recall you saying you did everything yourself. How many loads can one person handle from beginning and end by yourself? Please answer if possible. So it depends upon some variables. Number 1, your level of experience. Number 2, are you covering all these loads off a load board, or do you have carriers that you're going to be using that you are recurring carriers? Number 3, the type of freight that you're moving will depend upon that. But I would tell you that, probably a range is somewhere in the range of a comfortable range is probably somewhere in the range of maybe 4 to 10 a day per person. Okay. If they're doing cradle to grave, 4 if it's very complex, 10 if you're using a lot of the same carriers over and over again and it's not a super complex movement. So somewhere in that range of 4 to 10 per day per person, depending upon the type of freight and the variables that I gave you. So I hope that helps. But listen, again, if you guys want the free download, the cheat sheet, the 5 biggest lies about becoming a freight broker, freight agent, I strongly suggest you download that because it does have some additional resources, including links to different videos and different trainings and different blog posts that I've done. So again, you can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com/lies. Appreciate you guys being here. Before you head out, hit the like button no matter where you're at. Repost or share the stream. Truly appreciate it. I'll be back next Monday with another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. See you then.